We're going to stay on the diamond, but shift over to the professional ranks next. It's been 16 days, but the IronPigs are finally back at the Lehigh Valley. The Pigs getting ready to open up a 6-game series with the Buffalo Bisons, AAA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. This actually part of a 12-game homestand for Lehigh Valley, with Norfolk scheduled to come to town next week. To help us get ready for this week's action over at Coca-Cola Park, let's welcome in 1/3 of our all-star Pigs broadcast team, Steve Degler. Degs, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with this. We'll get to the homestand in just a bit, but we talked about how the club's been on the road for quite a while, and ultimately a pretty darn successful road trip.
Boy, it sure was, Dan. And they played back-to-back road series, starting in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, then going to Omaha for the first time. And over those 12 games, they won an impressive 9-3. And in the process, they are now just 1 game out of first place. In the last 10 games, they have picked up 4 games in the standings on both Rochester and Buffalo. This is a huge series. The Bisons come in 3rd place, just a half game behind Lehigh Valley. So it's going to be a real test over the next 6 days for the IronPigs.
The Pigs coming into today at 34-26, Buffalo at 33-26. So you're right, a pivotal series. So let's look ahead to it. Lehigh Valley getting some reinforcements to the lineup.
Yeah, Rafael Marchand is going to join the IronPigs. He has been with them the last 10 games on Major League rehab, but he was optioned to AAA yesterday. Marchand was placed on the Phillies' 60-day injured list back on April 7th with a left hamstring strain. He played 4 games in Jersey Shore on rehab, beginning his assignment on May 25th, and then in those 10 games with the IronPigs, hitting .235 with a home run and 4 knocked in. That home run, by the way, his first in the minor leagues, and that's in 1,054 at-bats. He has 2 major league home runs that came before he ever hit one in the minors. His round tripper with the Pigs at Scranton-Wilkes-Barre on June 3rd. He is just 23 years of age, the number 9 prospect in the organization, the best defensive catcher in the Phillies system. He's also a switch hitter as well, but with Garrett Stubbs already entrenched as the backup in Philadelphia and Austin Wynns traded last week to San Francisco, they needed a spot for Marchand, and this is going to be at a AAA. Logan O'Hoppe is at Reading, so Marchand will be the everyday catcher at Lehigh Valley, at least until Donnie Sands come back from an injury. And he's a guy that's got a lot of upside. He is tremendous behind the plate. It's just whether he can hit enough, and so far he has done a decent job with Lehigh Valley, but it's going to be good to have him in the lineup and behind the plate almost every single day for this IronPigs team.
Several tools at Marchand's disposal. You mentioned switch hitting catcher, obviously tremendous defensively. He can run a little bit as well. Was 5 for 16 in the Pigs series at Omaha last week. Also drew 3 walks during that time. So Marchand back in Lehigh Valley. Let's focus now on a guy who has been really good for a really long time. Who's smoking right now for the Pigs? We like those IronPigs puns. Who's smoking hot right now?
The smoking pig right now is Gyro Munos, and there aren't a whole lot of them, even with that successful road trip. Not a lot of guys that are red hot, but this guy can flat out hit. The Phillies signed him as a free agent back in February. He's played 213 games in the big leagues, hitting .274 with 11 home runs in that time. Last year, he was an opponent of the IronPigs. He played in Worcester and hit .308 with 8 home runs and 36 knocked in. He had a 35-game hitting streak for the Woo Sox last year. In that stretch, he was 57 for 146 in 35 games. That's a .390 average. He's 27 years of age. He can play multiple positions. 5 so far for the IronPigs this year, including pitcher. He's hitting .319 overall with 5 homers and 22 knocked in 45 games. How about the month of June, though, Dan? He is batting .345 this month, 10 for 29. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games. Over the weekend in Omaha, in the last 3 games, he had 3 home runs and 5 runs batted in. And in the first series against Buffalo back in May, he went 4 for 11 with a double and a home run. He can play anywhere in the field. He can hit almost anywhere in the lineup. He has been a great addition to this Lehigh Valley roster this year.
7 for 21 last week in Omaha. You mentioned the great weekend that he had, and 16 hits over his last 13 games. You're right. He is the smoking pig right now, Gyro Munos. You mentioned his success against Buffalo. Let's focus now on the opposition this week for Lehigh Valley. We'll go hitter, pitcher. Give us a bat to keep an eye on first.
Well, the guy who had a really good series against the Pigs at Coca-Cola Park back in May is outfielder Nathan Lucas. Now, he has cooled off considerably, and the hope for the Pigs is that he stays that way. Lucas has never played in the big leagues, but he's 11th in the International League right now with a .302 batting average in 53 games. He's doubled 16 times. He's homered 4 times, driven in 25, hitting primarily at the top of the order. He's got a very impressive 370 on-base percentage and 12 stolen bases. He can play all 3 outfield spots. He has 4 assists from the outfield this year, but he is just 3 for his last 17, so you hope he doesn't catch fire back in Allentown. He was originally drafted by Cleveland in 2015, signed by Toronto as a free agent back in November, and in that 6-game series against the Pigs in May, he played in 5 of the contests, going 7 for 19 with 6 runs scored. He's a guy that can really set the table and be disruptive on the base paths. The Iron Pigs certainly have to keep him in check over the next 6 games and try and win this series against the Bisons.
You mentioned Lucas in those 5 previous games against the Pigs, 7 for 19 with the 6 runs scored. He also knocked in 3 and drew 5 walks, so a key cog in that lineup. A kind of guy who we hope doesn't hurt Lehigh Valley every day. Let's focus now on a guy who can only hurt the Pigs one time. Give us a pitcher to keep an eye on.
Well, maybe the best pitcher in the league right now is a regional product. That is Casey Lawrence, who is a veteran. He is now 34 years of age, his second go-around in the Blue Jays organization. He is the true definition of a pitcher. He doesn't throw all that hard, but he does not make too many mistakes on the mound. He was undrafted coming out of Albright College in Reading, where he is the career strikeout leader. That was back in 2010 when he signed with Toronto as a free agent. Not a flamethrower, but he rarely walks any hitters. 11 in 61 innings. By the way, he's averaging about 6 innings per start. Those 61 innings this year are 4th most in the league. He played in Japan in 2019, played independent ball last year, but how about now? 8-1, 1.77 ERA, leads the league, 2 complete games, 1 shutout. Opponent's batting average of 185, that's second best in the league, 39 hits allowed in 61 innings, and the old whip, walks and hits per innings pitched, 0.82 base runners per inning. That is the best in the International League right now. He is slated to face the Iron Pigs on Thursday. He faced them back in May, went 6 innings, got a no decision. Typical line for Lawrence, walked just 1 and struck out 6. So he has been a real key in the good start to the season for Buffalo.
And he's been the smoking bison of late. His last 5 starts, 5-0, 3 earned runs in 32 and 2/3 innings pitched. Strikeout to walk rate, great, 27 to just 5. We started this segment, Degs, by talking about what a great road trip it was for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, taking 9 out of 12 on the road. The old adage is home sweet home. There's no place like home. It'd be nice if the Pigs could carry over that road success here at Coca-Cola Park, where they've struggled a bit this season.
You want to win at home, and if you can play 500 on the road, you'll be happy with that. Anything over 500 will be a bonus, but when you look at what the numbers are for this Pigs team between home and road right now, man, it is a huge difference. They have just struggled at Coca-Cola Park, 11 and 13, under 500 on their own field, as opposed to 23 and 13 on the road. Look at the batting average. They're hitting 30 points better on the road. They have 38 home runs. Yes, there have been 12 more games, but just 15 homers in 24 games at Coca-Cola Park. They're scoring a run per game more on the road. Pitching has been about even. The ERA, not much of a difference there. The walks per game, and this is the real caveat, whether they're playing here or at Coca-Cola Park, these numbers in that last category must come down for the Pigs to sustain their success. But they have walked nearly a batter per game more at home, and defensively, they have been much better on the road. They're a solid defensive club, but it's been better away from Coca-Cola Park. So it's been a bit of an enigma as to why they haven't been able to win at home, but they'll play their next 12 here, as you mentioned, against Buffalo and then Norfolk. This is a time where you want to see them try to win 7 or 8 at least of these games and try to get back over 500 on their own turf.
Road, sweet road. It just doesn't have the same ring to it as home, sweet home. And you're right. Big series coming up. We know the Pigs, second in the division, 1 game back of Rochester, half a game up on Buffalo, who the Pigs will face over the course of the next 6. Degs, you've got a broadcast to get to, so get on out of here. Thank you so much.
Head to the ballpark. Sounds good, Dan.
Okay.